Hello everyone.
Welcome to What If Deku was the first Power Ranger. If you're wondering why I'm not as cheery, sorry, I'm a little down, as you can see. If you're wondering why I'm not as cheery as I'm in my other What Ifs, is because one of my favorite creators of video game history just retired. This creator being Scott Cawthon, the creator of the FNAF franchise, Five Nights at Freddy's franchise. It was said, linked, that a random fan sent something to Scott, or sent something to the media about Scott, and the fandom didn't take it too brightly. Those who are not true fans, those who criticize the game, even though they still play it. Scott Cawthon has been getting threats, and has now retired due to yesterday. All I want to say is that I made this video to create a new series for a thank you. I was 10 when I first played FNAF 1. I grew up with the series over a long majority of my depression in school. I was that one kid who was always bullied and never had much friends to begin with. I was all alone and in darkness in that portion of my life. When I found the game FNAF, it brought light to my darkness. It made me happy. Something that I can finally enjoy. I grew up with FNAF. 1, 2, 3, all the games. I enjoyed them all. And to see such a great creator fall is heartbreaking, as you know. All I wanted to say before everything goes down, thank you for everything. Thanks for YouTube, thanks for everything. I don't know if I can be the same, ever, honestly. But I make this video. This will truly, in my honest heart, would be my series that I create for these certain things. Thank you, everyone, for being there for me since the very beginning of my YouTube channel. Thank you all. And now, let's begin the what if. Sorry. This starts like normal. Izuka Midoriya, unlike other people, his true intentions of becoming hero was only on justice. He knew that heroes were corrupt at a very young age. He saw some not very kind things as a young child. But he did see the good portions and bad portions. He only wanted to become a hero to show true justice. Justice was practically everything to him. Even if it's unfair, it has to be equal or fair. Not even if it's even if it's not equal, it's at least fair to the world. And Deku, for most portion of his life, was always determined to make true justice. Growing up, he would train his body. Not to a severe degree, but just to a normal height. You can say a normal human height. And when Izuku Midoriya found out when he was quirkless, it didn't stop him at all. He didn't cry, he didn't do anything. It just showed that he has to work harder to accomplish his goals in life. And so, that's what he did. Training as much as possible for his entire life. After school, after finishing schoolwork, after everything, he would train, no matter what. He would never give up on training, nor opposing his morals. And he wasn't gonna let depression, nor Katsuki Bakugo, get in his head to stop him from becoming a hero, to occur true justice. He didn't care about Bakugo. As soon as a Bakugo opposed his morals and his own, beliefs, he stopped talking to Bakugo entirely. He stopped talking to Bakugo like a friend. Kacchan died. Or that name that Deku used for for Bakugo died when he was 5. Or when he started bullying other people with weaker quirks. No one believed in him. Not one single person, except for himself. His mother didn't believe in him. Yes, Inko was still Inko, still joyful to have a child. That will never change about her. But he would figure out very soon that not all things are rainbows. After a fight occurred in town square, Endeavor versus a very awkward villain. This villain had a mist-like quirk. It was odd, unlike other villains. Endeavor's quirk didn't really work on him. Endeavor, when gotten the chance to beat him, had the chance to kill him. The villain has killed already 23 people by then. 23. And that's not even saying how many injured or in the surrounding areas or in the main area they're fighting at. There are about 50 deaths, and 23 injured. Izuku Midoriya was there, watching everything. And he saw his mother die before his eyes. As in court, they gave him 10 years in prison in Tartarus. Not a life sentence, 10 years in prison. After that, Deku was sent to an orphanage. People bullied him for years. Deku's kind personality very quickly became hollow, or accepted to those who only show kindness. Those who show kindness to him will receive nothing but happiness and kindness and friendliness. But those who conflict with him, those who bully him, will receive the pain 100, 1,000-fold. Especially since he was kicked out of the orphanage in a fight trying to protect another quirkless, you would say. A group of, what are their names? Orphans decided to bully a quirkless in that same range. Of course, it got out of hand and inevitably caused the kid's arm and a couple of fractured ribs from the boy. Deku stood up to them and inevitably almost killed half of them. with his cruelty. Yes, they were all critically injured by his strength alone. Deku is now 10. It's been about 3-ish so years since the event has happened. That same day he was kicked out, the other quirkless kid committed suicide. Deku heard of this on the news and was infuriated. Like Himiko Toga from a young age, Deku would be by himself, snatching money. Or, because his morals wouldn't allow him to steal at all. Because he's too hard-headed to go that low. He would try and look for money. Unlike other versions of Midoriya, this one didn't want to steal. Justice is not defined by stealing, but is defined by your actions on your lowest point. This was Izuku Midoriya's lowest point. Over a while, people started to notice something. Every time villains showed up, things would start to happen. A task force was created. Or more of a, hunters were created. Hunters that eventually, due to the reasonings, wanted more money than they were given from a hero organization. So they became rogue. Midoriya, not mattering how low he had of money, he only had about $10 in deposit. Not a lot to survive on for months. Deku, due to these difficult situations and environments, his body would naturally be adapted to natural disasters. Not all natural disasters, but he would be decently built to take a lot of wind, snow, rain, and natural weather elements. He had no home. He had anything. At one point, he was in a perimeter of a tornado. He had to hold on to his dear life onto a handle balcony bar. And don't get me started on winter. He had to eat trash just to survive in the winter. Of course, it did make him sick, but his immune system was on point. Inevitably, by the time he was 13, he was able to get a low-class job as a butler or maid, if you will, for a motel establishment. After this, he became, with the money he gained, he knew he had to get medical things, but due to the lack of money he did have, and it was only his first week of working, he had to buy food. Or not food, but food, because practically. He would have to wear clothes. Midori would have to wear clothes, or buy clothes. So he would have to rationalize his food very, very carefully. He only had about, let me see. Let me think. What's a good way to survive a food? With how good he was rationalizing his food, he at least had it for about... He had about 3 turkeys for food. He rationalized it for 3 months, meaning that he will eat very little of the turkey every day. Of the turkeys every day. And after that, he ran out of money while buying him clothing. Yes, he did gain more money as the months upon, but his food was getting scarce. Inevitably, he was able to join a school. Due to, after finally a couple months or years, he finally got the inheritment of his mother's money, which was only about $200, which was more than what he needed to survive. No one cared for him. He always had to be by himself in this time. No one wanted a quirkless person. No one wanted to adopt him. So, Deku's now 11. He is now going to school and being educated. With all the abilities or money that Deku can rationalize, same with food, he would only focus on, law enforcement. Law enforcement, government officials, anything that has to do with laws, society, news, anything that has to do with verbal word of the world, or law enforcement in general. Anything that has to do with laws or anything like that, Deku would learn about. And only that. Deku would only have normal classes of math, social studies, and all the other classes. Those would be normal. But the classes he most prioritized was the law enforcement and government official. He focused on those the most. He was a very quiet person. People try to talk to him, but knowing due to the outcome of finding out or telling that he is quirkless, he knew the concepts that they would just leave as soon as it would be told. Of course, that was until he was 12. He met back up with Katsuki in middle school. Or before, a little bit before middle school. He only met Katsuki about twice outside of school. Eventually meeting back with Mitsuki. Not wanting to go into any family matters or caring about anyone, he would have to focus on his own morals and ideas and beliefs and what he believes in right now. So he would avoid them at all costs, not wanting to waste any time. Midoriya would then, at the age of 15, would enter middle school. He would enter middle school, and it would be a bit of a while. Or at least transfer. He was in a middle school doing online, but now he would be going in person for his second year. Being 14, Midoriya had a lot of admirers due to his physique and morals. Of course, he never really talked much. He mostly said things in his actions. He saw talking as a waste of time. Of course, though, at the age of 15, we all know what's about to happen. At the year of middle school, his last year of middle school, in the end, Bakugo Katsuki would realize something. As everyone would get the same results of UA. So everyone, there are two candidates for UA. We have Bakugo Katsuki and a Izuku Midoriya. Bakugo Katsuki would act surprised and will think that Midoriya would have been dead for who knows how long. Still bullying Deku, he would do the same, slam his fist on the desk. You think you can become a hero? Heroes do not define justice. Justice is defined by action. You, Bakugo Katsuki, are relentless when it comes to justice. Your corrupted personality, with your anger, blocks your hero code, if you even have one. As in the first years Midori has said in years, Bakugo will be angry, as it will be the end of class time. Midoriya would grab his notebooks. They wouldn't just be quirks, but they would also be law enforcements on laws and other things, regiments. Unlike quirks, which he would have about 30 volumes of, when it come to laws, he would have about 100 of them. 100 volumes. And laws in his books would be a lot, you can say. He studied things to the top of their ability. He even studied old laws. Very old laws, like the commandments. I believe it was up to 27, I believe, or 30 commandments. So he knows a lot about laws. And he upholds them as well. As in the time, he would take the shortcut to go home faster. In this moment, a sludge villain would attack him. Give me your body, kid. As Midoriya dodged, surprisingly, and surprising the sludge villain. Okay, you're pretty fast, let's go! As Midoriya would relentlessly block all attacks coming from sludge villain. Inevitably, due to accidentally tripping on a portion of his book bag, he would have fell into the sludge villain. I am here, have no fear. As All Might would come, Detroit Smash! Detroit Smash! Midoriya would be thankful, of course. Very, very thankful. As if the first time in any type of resort, someone has truly found kindness or sympathy towards Midoriya. Of course, though, this didn't last, as within Midoriya's words of exhaustion, Can I become... As All Might would jump off, as with all of his lung power, Midoriya would grab on and jump just in time of the bell. Jumping on All Might's leg, as All Might and that entire fiasco would happen. Hey kid, get off my leg. If I'll do, I'll die here. Oh yeah. Let me find a place to land. As All Might would land. And that entire speech would appear. My quirk, I was injured a while ago by a very specific villain. Before you go, All Might, I have a question. But first, let me get a minute to regain my breath. Remember, due to this version of Midoriya being a lot more agile and, tactical with his movements, very quicker with his movements, he would have a lot of stamina, but at the same time, dodging the sludge villain you would have to be very fast to dodge the sludge villain. This would, have Deku's lungs try to, adapt to, the brain, not the brain, but, breathing. But due to him still being human and having no quirk of any kind, his breathing wouldn't change. Meaning that he would have to very kind of in a flight or fight scenario. Oh, mate. Even though I'm quirkless, can I still become a hero? Is with the fracturing voice and fracturing hearts within Midoriya. All Might would say no. You'll be better being a cop or a firefighter. Midoriya will feel saddened, but wouldn't let it get to him. As all of a sudden there will be an explosion off in this distance. What was that? As All Might would check his pockets. Oh no. As they both would run to the explosions. Midoriya seeing his old friend. Yes, even though he no longer seen him as a friend, it is still the right thing to do to help him. No one else, as he would take notes that no one else would help, even though he himself can help. They say that their quirks aren't able to save him, but all they really cared about is getting their own self out of danger. Midoriya, with the courage and determination he would have to save any, even if he hates the person, he would still save them. Within a sudden, without realization of what he is doing, Midoriya would already be halfway towards the Sledgeville and running, as people would try to get him, but he would push them away. As Midoriya getting his book bag, which would be filled with books, throwing it, like, just throwing it at the Sledgevillain eyes, weighing down on the Sledgevillain eyes, unlike in canon, it would weigh down the eyeballs, which will damage the Sledgevillain. Yes, it would hurt him, but not for long. Midoriya would have strength to pull some parts of the Sledgevillain off, and eventually would fail in his secession. He almost would have succeeded in his accomplishment if he had a little bit more time. But the Sledgevillain, with his quirk, was able to very quickly recover and capture Midoriya as well. And with the determination that All Might would have, he would grab the embers that he has, squeeze them, and would go plus ultra. United States of Smash! Inevitably changing the weather. This would cause a lot of talking to surround Midoriya. Midoriya would say nothing and just walk off, ignoring everyone who is trying to talk to him. They were not going to praise him like Bakugo. In fact, they're about to do the opposite. Midoriya would be walking away and inevitably hear a slide. Wait! I am here! As the same thing, he would get All Might's quirk. And the next day, he would be or in a few hours of explaining everything All Might would do, he would then, Midoriya, walk home. As soon as he would open his door, he would realize his door was unlocked to outer interference. It would eventually meet the Hero Council organization. Those who are in front or in the controlling the Hero Society. It would give Deku opposition. Would you like to become a hero early, kid? As they would have a conversation, and Midori would agree. But what Midori did not know is that with this opposition, he would know the dark parts of justice. And due to that, he would be enrolled in a program called the Ranger Program. People who can contain energy or contain a type of quirk, if you will. But it's not a quirk, it's an artificial quirk. One that can enhance the body to its maximum capabilities, even beyond. But what Midori did not know about this is that there is only a 1% chance he can survive the process. He was told that there was a 60% chance, but there's only a 1% chance. All other suspects have either had the quirk taken away by this, how would you say, project, due to the artificial quirk taking it away and absorbing it. So yes. Midori would be the first test subject, though. The first test subject or prototype of this organization. And with time, Midori was trained to his peak physiality. Almost like the Spartan program, if you will, from Halo. He was very well at taking orders. But when it came to something that rejected his morals and beliefs, it wasn't very happy scene, you can say. After a while, they would figure out that Midoriya would have the perfect body to contain this thing, you can say. This... Well, what was it called again? Artificial quirk. When Midoriya got the artificial quirk, something happened to him. His body would start shaking and muscles would start expanding. As if it was an enhancement on top of his already peak physiology. Midoriya would feel powerful, but at what cost? Like Lady Nagant, which is his partner. Lady Nagant was noticing that the quirk, artificial quirk, doesn't work on quirked individuals. They would figure out a different version of the artificial quirk or power. They gave one to Lady Nagant, as Lady Nagant's physiology would increase, but not as strong as Midoriya's though. But would become faster. As for what would have happened next, would be what Midoriya would have had nightmares about. As their captain or leader would be the guard of a power source. One that can create. This was an unknown variable. It was some kind of neon plasma power-like substance. But after separating it to give it individually to each member of the team, Midoriya himself had something strange happen to him. He saw bits and pieces of other things. Weirdly enough. Not from his time, though, but from others. Other people with these same abilities. Of course, these are future universes in creation. Little does he know. Being ordered, Midori was being given his first mission. As it will appear, Midoriya would be unsure of his first mission at first, but then would be forced to cooperate, you would say. Inevitably ending up in a death of a very not corrupted, but a very innocent soul. This would be a hero, actually. A hero that is about to do a undespiteful deed. Of course, though, this unspiteful deed wasn't analyzed and wasn't told to the council or to the team of Rangers. Midoriya was told that this individual was about to do a villainous act, but in reality, the act was the information of the truth behind the Hero Council. As slowly but surely as Midoriya would be doing his missions, he would realize something. The amount of blood the team has on their hands is unforgettable. And would realize reality. You don't have the right to take a life away. Which was cost him. That thinking would cost him a friend's life. His second in command, if you will, before Lady Nagant. After Lady Nagant, or before Lady Nagant. Lady Nagant would be the 36th member. All the other ones would have failed the exam, or test, experiment. There are only officially 3 who were compatible. This person would have died due to Midoriya's actions in not killing the villain. It would inevitably lead to his change of mindset in justice. Kill the villain before they hurt others. You would cause more casualties if you leave them alive. There's no point. Inevitably, him and Lady Nagant will see the dark side of it. Even though Lady Nagant would see that he's a little too young to be a captain, she wouldn't question it due to his physiology and height. Immaturity, Lady Nagant would see in Midoriya. They weren't able to see each other's identities, names, or other things. They called them by their code names: Red, Gray, and Blue. Gray was dead, only leaving Red and Blue. Blue was Lady Nagant, and Red was Izuku. Almost like a homunculus ladybug-esque fashion where you can't find out the other person's secret identity. Of course, after having something happen, something would occur. After both of them would be standing in a crowd of people, praising them for being heroes. Kids and children will be there, about the age of 5 to 10, would be wanting to handshake them both. Or, have pictures. As within that, they both feel what would have happened. They would get glimpses of blood on their hands, and will be stained forever. And will realize that this version that they upholded of justice was incorrect and wrong. The next following month would occur, and inevitably leading to Lady Nagant and Izuku teaming up, you would say. And even though they're already teamed up, we're a team. Lady Nagant. After I know your name by finding some things. After one of the employees left the informational dock, data door opened, I took a peek. And let's say both of our theories were correct. We were killing innocent people before they even committed acts. Not just that, but he would just give the document to Lady Nagant. Being surprised that Lady Nagant, Lady Nagant would be surprised he knows her name, but she still doesn't know his. Due to this, they would find more information. Do you still want to stay, Lady Nagant? I, on the other hand, don't know yet. Yes, we are doing good, but at what cost? As Lady Nagant and Midori would get into a fight. Lady Nagant wanting to leave, and Midori would be staying. Inevitably giving, Lady Nagant would kill the present leader of the organization, and Midoriya being, what was the word? Given a higher rank, you would say. Leader, now captain. Of course, though, this was until he was sent to take out the girl. This girl was about the age of 5. The hero organization found the Yakuza and wanted them to take out the source of the problem. Midoriya refused with all of his might, and returned, as they would be yelling at Midoriya, but Midoriya would have none of it, killing them all, and inevitably destroying. Well, what was it called? I believe power or something. What was it called? Hold up. Let me search it up. I've kind of forgot the name. Power Grid, I believe. After destroying the power grid, so they can't make any more super soldiers, Midoriya's colors on his suit will be burned off. A red into a gray. Red to gray. Midoriya would now have the grid's will, or be the grid's will. Gaining the abilities of many. Of course, this wasn't the only organization of the Rangers, though. After they found that Midoriya was successful, they created others all across Japan. Knowing that they're all corrupted, Midoriya would be on a quest to take all of their power coins. Their power coins were the core of the Rangers' power. And so, he would go on a journey to collect them all. As he would step outside. And that is where I'll end this video.